Live from the home of Well-Armed Podcasts, you're listening to Techies Talking Tech tonight, colloquially known as T4. I'm your host, Trey Comstock, and it is Tuesday, the 11th of November. I am joined this week by Executive Editor Jimmy Principe.
Hello, Internet.
And Senior Writer Sydney Foster.
Hey, everybody.
Yes,
Sydney, are you lost?
I did get lost. I took a wrong turn on my way to going to sleep and stumbled into the studio.
Yeah, no, sometimes that happens. This is a different show. This is kind of more of our reviews show. Is kind of how it reviews and commentary rather than a news show. It's a little more free form, a little more sweary. We periodically talk about Schindler's Lust.
It's fucking sweary.
Yeah, no, it's great. And so we're really in the heart of new games coming out. I'm wearing my Assassin's Creed Unity Hidden Blade because I'm a sucker for a video game merch.
Yeah, I saw those at GameStop and I thought of you.
Yeah, no,
You didn't buy a matching one?
I thought about it.
I would have bought one, but they don't come in pink.
I mean, I pre-ordered the game.
Spray paint.
I also pre-ordered this Hidden Blade at a similar cost to the game.
Look at your life.
I stand by this choice. I get a lot of joy out of this remarkably uncomfortable accessory.
His conscience is clear.
But that's not really. We're going to talk about next week. We're going to talk about Assassin's Creed Unity, Assassin's Creed Rogue, or Rouge. As it's not my joke. It's Kevin Van Ord of GameSpot's joke, but it's Assassin's Creed Rouge, and also Halo Master Chief Collection. So that's next week's show. However, on this week's show, it is all about devices, because it is also device season. Because
Christmas is coming.
Christmas is coming. And so everyone who's selling anything that they think might sell for the holidays is really ramping this up. And so there's a new fitness gadget on the market that's actually catching a lot of buzz called the Misfit Flash. And we actually have one. So I'm going to switch the camera over to you, Sydney, and let you talk through your device.
Okay, so this kind of developed out of, last week. There was one day that I took 2 trips from my classroom down to the ISS room, which is at the very, very opposite end of my school, which if you grew up in a high school like I did, is not a big deal. But the school where I teach is 2,400 kids. You know, a couple trips to the ISS room, you've gotten pretty much a good mile. So anyway, I was curious about how many steps I do in a day. So of course, I'm thinking, I just kind of want a step counter. You know, I know I've got Health Kit on my iPhone, but at work, unless I'm wearing, pants with pockets, I'm not usually carrying my phone constantly. So it was just kind of a curiosity
you could always
thing.
get one of those hip holster things.
Yeah,
those are cool.
No,
because those never make you look like a total douchebag at all. No,
except for all of the time.
And to be quite honest, there are times during my day when I just strategically want to be without a phone because of the sheer number of people who have access to my phone number who may be constantly. There's just times when I need to be disconnected. Anyway, so of course Trey's response to this is, all right, let's go get a Fitbit. And so we moseyed over to Best Buy this weekend, and me being me, I'm like, it's so expensive. Whine, complain. And so the solution that we came up with was of the Misfit Flash, which is, I've been wearing it today in clip form, clipped onto. So part of it was with the Fitbits, I wasn't a big fan of having something on my wrist, just because purely from a vain aesthetic standpoint of not wanting to walk around with a plastic bracelet on my wrist all the time. So I was really looking for something that could clip or go in a pocket or whatever. So the Flash was...
Do you want to hold it so it's right now it's being blocked
Yes.
totally by the microphone?
Sorry, here it is. It's
there
lovely. So for those of you
Lovely.
audio podcast, it's slightly larger than the size of a quarter.
It's kind of like a $50.
Yeah. Mine happens to be a lovely tealy turquoise color, but they come in lots of different colors, white, black. pink. So
Pink.
it comes in at about $50.
Yeah, right at $50.
It's got this lovely little clip accessory, but the device itself, the flash little disc thing, pops out of the clip, and also has a lovely wristband for when I am feeling like being super sporty and awesome.
You can also buy a pendant accessory for it, so you can wear it as a necklace.
So basically,
seems like an odd application.
It was kind of
Indiegogo backers.
Yeah, so when I opened the box, it was kind of interesting. The directions for it basically said download the app, and the app will tell you how to use the thing. So downloaded the app on my phone. It was at first I was kind of irritated with it because I couldn't figure it out. Then I realized it wouldn't sync, and I was really mad. And then I realized I was told I was syncing a Shine rather than a Flash.
Which is
so
their
the Shine
$100 product.
Yeah,
and the original product that they released.
And the one they actually backed on Indiegogo.
And kind of so the Shine is fancier. It's definitely, if you're looking for something that doesn't look like a fitness tracker but is, I would definitely go for the Shine because like Trey said, it's got like necklace attachments and bracelets and all kinds of cool things that can make your fitness tracker actually look stylish. So with the Flash, kind of how it works, I've got it lighting up here. It tracks your progress with these lovely little lights that go around the edge. So throughout the day, as I progress towards my goal, the little circle, the little lights move further around the circle. So it's a really quick, easy visual. And then it also tells you the time with its blinky lights. Close enough. And then in the app, you have the option kind of when you first log in and create your account to set they have 3 general goals, which are kind of active, pretty active, or very active. And the whole thing is a points-based system, basically. So it says, if you choose kind of active, it kind of describes the different exercises that would help you reach your goal. So I went with pretty active. To hit my pretty active goal, which is 1,000 points, I can walk for an hour and a half, I can run for 30 minutes, I can swim for 45 minutes. So basically, it converts your activity into these points. And you can get more nitpicky with it once you've actually started up the app and get specific about how many points you want to set as your goal. So far, just over the past few days, I have not actually hit my goal because I've been lazy, but I've gotten close yesterday and today. So if I actually made a point to work out, I think I'd hit the pretty active pretty easily. So I'll probably bump up if I actually, start walking like a good person. But throughout the day as it syncs, you get a nice little, I don't know if my screen's probably not going to show well at all, but you get circle. There you go.
I'm going to text him just one.
So you get, again, kind of similar to how it looks on the device. You get the circle going around tracking your points. Trey is adjusting the screen.
There you go. Yeah, you can see it.
All right. So it can tell me how many points I have. If I click the little circle, it will switch over and tell me how many steps I've done, how many miles I've done. And then at the bottom, I get a nifty little graph showing me kind of throughout the course of my day where were my peak moments. It has achievements, and we all know that I, unlike Steven, am a big fan of the gamification of everything. So it's like, hey, you just walked really fast for 6 minutes. Have an achievement. Thanks, Trey. Or I just got one for hitting my personal best of 871 points. This is the closest I've gotten to my goal of 1,000 so far. It has the option of taking pictures of your food and tracking your food, and then it also tracks, in addition to steps, you can track other activities. It's waterproof, so you could do swimming, biking.
Which is kind of a big differentiator for this.
Yeah.
device.
That's the big thing that it has that the Fitbits do not.
So to start talking about the comparison, this to me is actually the best value on the market right now.
And I'd agree with that.
So the Fitbit that costs actually bases at $60, but is right now on sale for $55. Mm-hmm. You don't get the band.
Right. Well, I actually have it right here.
Right. So it does not. So that device, $5 more expensive, normally $10 more expensive, does not come with the band, is not waterproof.
Advantages: you get a screen. So here, I don't know if that's going to show up at all.
Yeah. Hold on. Yeah. Well, I'm gonna. So now you're soloed. So yeah, it shows.
So it has a screen on it. where as you tap through, it'll give you various different pieces of information. It gives you a little smiley emoticon based on how well you're doing, time, steps, whatever. But that's one of the advantages that this has over, well, most of the other cheap fitness trackers, is that it, including not even the cheap. So like the Jawbone Up provides no notifications on it,
No,
the
it
thing
has-
itself.
I thought it had some lights. I don't know. I look
Same
at the
thing,
job.
well-
I look at the Jawbone Up and I go, yeah, that's great, but it's gonna break when you look at it, right?
Right. Well, and then the same thing with even the Fitbit Flex provides the little dots.
Right.
Great. Now I'm on 4 little dots. Now what does
Well-
that mean again?
Well, I mean, yes. And if this was a traditional fitness tracker, I think that would be a real make or break for me. But since the whole point is really the app integration, and since unlike the Polar Loop, the Misfit actually works with its app pretty well, just like the Fitbits.
Right.
I mean, this is not a
Right. And this
Mark,
is the Fit. I can't get the
turn your
Fitbit
screen
app.
brightness down,
Yeah, I thought I had done that.
like to
I got this to nothing.
like nothing. Yep.
All right.
This is great podcast. Oh, there we go. Yeah. See.
So that's the Fitbit app. And then when I click on my steps, it'll tell me, what my activity throughout the day is. And then down below is other days that I've had.
And I think this one, the Misfits app, compares pretty favorably with the Fitbit.
Yeah, it's not at all, it's not overwhelming to look at. It's got enough information that I'm happy, but not, like I said, not too much that I feel like, why is this even here? There are more features here than I'll ever begin to understand.
But the other piece of why I say it's such a big value is the waterproof, which that Fitbit isn't.
Oh,
Yeah.
oh
And
yeah.
that's,
And
well,
that-
I mean,
I mean, water resistant down to 30 meters, which is like usable.
Yeah, I haven't yet tried to use it to track any type of exercise other than just, walking, but basically it's, so the whole thing is it's a button that you click. So you push and the process is push and hold and then do whatever activity you're going to do and then push and hold to stop, and then you go back later and say, hey, when I did that, I was bicycling or whatever, and from there it generally gives you your points.
Yeah, I mean, the Misfit Flash is something that I've kind of had my eye on for the last couple of months since they announced it back at kind of the beginning of September.
Yeah, it really wasn't that long ago that it was announced, and then it sort of like came to market last week and was getting like really good reviews.
Yeah, it was actually released. So it was announced at the beginning of September. It was released in the middle of October, technically. But then I'm guessing that it's available, and then it was actually like rolled out to Best Buy and things like that the last week.
Yeah.
I needed Fitbits, or not needed. I wanted a Fitbit specifically because of a company wellness program we were doing that actually ends this week. And so I had a specific use that I was targeting to get one of these devices for. But if I had the ability to wait, I probably would have waited for the Flash, just because of the waterproof and all of those, all the other advantages.
And comes with the band.
Yeah, I like the band.
And then it lets you do sleep tracking. I think for that Fitbit that you have, the band
sleep tracking.
Doesn't do sleep tracking, partly because there isn't a band.
Because that's they decided not to include sleep tracking as part of this Fitbit. That's what it is.
Sure, but again,
it's a feature differentiator between the Fitbit Zip and the Fitbit One.
Right, but the One is more expensive. And
yeah, no, exactly.
It's another reason why I make the argument that the Misfit is the best value on the market.
Oh, agreed.
For these kind of things.
The other thing is, it's important to note about both of these devices, the bottom end of the market, as opposed to if you look at the top end, both of these devices run off of a coin cell battery.
Yep.
It's a traditional watch battery. And whereas other people might see that as a negative, it's a massive positive to me. Because the problem I always had with all of the Fitbits I've had in the past is that when do you charge it? You're supposed to be wearing this stupid thing all the time. When do you charge it?
Right. If you're using it to track, for sleep tracking, then you can't charge it while you sleep. Like, I guess you charge it while you shower, but then
and
it's
that's
not
the
enough time
troubling-
to get a real charge. So,
And that's the troubling thing about these that are going to be, one of the things I liked about the Flex to begin with, and one of the things I like about the Pebble Steel is that it has 5 to 7 days of battery life. So I charge it once a week and I'm good. But with these active heart rate monitoring fitness devices, I'm really, really worried that we're going to start seeing rated at 48 hours, actually 36 hours. So then you're just charging your fitness device every day.
But again, I think most of the ones that we're seeing with active heart rate monitoring are doing one of two things. One, they're a smartwatch that you're assuming you're not going to be wearing for sleep tracking all the time. Or two, they are a hardcore training device that only has real value when you're actually out exercising.
Which is like the Microsoft is kind of the middle between those two. But even I'd say that the Fitbits, they still are targeting the you wear it all the time market.
Oh, the Fitbits, absolutely.
And they're the ones specifically that are advertising for like 48 hours.
Yeah, but though, I mean, again...
But if you look at the newest Basis Band and the Microsoft Watch...
Basis now owned by Intel.
I missed that.
Bought by Intel.
But the newest Basis Band is using the same kind of heart rate monitoring as the Microsoft smartwatch.
Well, to be fair, Basis is the first. I mean, remember when we checked out the Basis? The Basis.
Oh no, this is the newest one is using the same. They made a new one that uses the same technology. It came out before the Microsoft.
Yeah.
It's kind of a cool watch. I would be interested in it if it wasn't so expensive and had better battery life.
Well, I mean, there really is turning into two separate markets. Mm-hmm. There's these kind of, not low end, but fitness specific devices that are starting to get some notifications. The new round of Fitbits that are going to be launching in the spring are going to have some really minor notification functions. And then there's the smartwatches. So these fitness things are like 50 to 150, 200 bucks on
There's three levels. I think you're discounting one level. There's this level.
Right.
So you have the Fitbit Zip, the Misfit Flash, and then you have I think it was Jawbone came out with another cheap one, an actual wristband one. When they announced their newest up, they announced another cheaper version that doesn't have any heart rate monitoring, that just is a step tracker,
which was basically what the original up was, anyways.
Right. And so I think you're seeing a stratification where the fitness companies are saying, okay, this is the thing that we've been doing all along that seems to be selling pretty well. Let's drop the price of them and target the people that really just want a step counter, where it's like, oh, look, that's interesting information, but they don't want to spend $100 to get that information.
Yeah, and that's exactly where I was.
Then you have for the $100 to $200, you have the enhanced step trackers that have kind of the
notifications, possibly heart rate monitoring.
And most of them are notification and heart rate monitoring. Their heart rate is the thing of late 2014, and mainly most of them are coming out next year.
Which is, by the way, the thing I've been arguing for this whole time.
Right.
This whole time, this is what I've been arguing for.
And then you have like the Pebble Steel at the bottom. You have the Basis Band. You have the Apple Watch.
Which is going to be the top. Because we got some pricing.
Apple Watch is definitely the top.
So we got some pricing leaks that thing might be the one you want, maybe $500.
And that's expensive. I'm not saying it's not worth it. I'm just saying it's expensive. But then you also have the Android watches, like the LG G Watch. The GR. The G Watch R. Actually, okay. So the G Watch. Have you looked at the G Watch R at all?
A little bit.
That's the one that looks like a chronograph. As far as on the outside, it's got like this kind of chunky, with the different like 15, 30, 45, 0 on the outside with the compass.
Looks all right.
It actually looks really. They know their audience very well. They're trying not to compete with the really fancy high fashion, because if you go for the chronograph, you're already in that. It's fancy, but it's not dressy.
Sure, yeah.
So they're in an interesting. Them and Casio would look very similar.
Sure.
And Casio is building in some of the smarts into their newer watches, in little subtle ways. So there's a lot of interesting things going on at the top end of smartwatches.
But looking at, I think that's interesting. But looking at what Misfit's doing is they're taking very seriously the low end of the market, and I think Fitbit's gotten a little lazy in that segment of the market.
Yeah.
I mean, those are basically the same warmed over products that they came out with originally. And Misfit's going, okay, how do we mix this up? We do two things. We offer additional features and we improve the industrial design.
Yeah, make it
that
look cool.
device does not look bad. And the $100 device actually looks good. Originally came out via Indiegogo, and some of its...
correct me if I'm wrong, the $100 device is aluminum, if I remember.
I believe so, yeah. I mean,
it's actually a metal.
It's
right,
pretty.
and, you know, and the accessories are built around showing it off. And I really like what Misfit's doing, because I feel like Fitbit got, in all of their products, just got real lazy, right? The Force is just the flex with the display. They're not even going to have
the Force got recalled.
And it's not even going to relaunch until later this year. And then the heart rate one with notifications isn't even coming until next year. And Misfit's like, okay, we're cheaper, we're better looking, and we have more features spread across more of our products. Any one of our products can either be a clip or a wristband, which you can't say about Fitbit.
No, it's true. You can't.
So I think, you know, if anyone's asking me, hey, should I get, just like we just did, if anyone asks me, I just want something real basic, I'm going to say, look at the Misfit products. Look at the shine, and if you think you get the use out of it, get that. And if not, get the flash, and you'll be tremendously happy. The flash tells time on your wrist if you want it to.
Right.
For $50.
It's totally in the range for the type of product that it's supposed to be, and I think it's... I mean, Sydney, you seem to be very happy with it.
Yeah, I've been, it was Saturday? I've had it since Saturday, and yeah, I really like it. It's exactly what I was looking for, as far as, you know, I wasn't looking for really complex features. I honestly didn't even have sleep tracking in mind. It just happened to have that, and that's kind of been amusing me. But yeah, I like that it can clip it or wear it as a band, either way. Yeah, and like I said, it does what I want to do without doing too much. So
yeah,
quite pleased.
And for the right price.
Yes, and this being me, that was of course high on the list of priorities.
So speaking of doing the right thing for arguably the right price, so Jimmy, what did you buy?
So, in a move that will surprise nobody, I had to buy a new Nexus device this year, so I went with the Nexus 9.
Jimmy, you're just holding your phone up really close to the screen.
Yes, this is so actually after I bought it, I did say to Trey, "Hey Trey, look, I got a new phone. You know, it's very 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 spelt. It's very nice."
Yep.
So, I mean, the Nexus. Okay, I can. First things first, I have not tested the camera because that is the dumbest feature in a tablet. Okay, moving on. So I've been messing around with, this has been my main device for using Android Lollipop because it has been delayed for the Nexus 5. By the way, Nexus 5 and Nexus 9 kind of, they're adorable, really. Let's get the screen turned on here. But yeah, so it's got a beautiful screen. It's got the same kind of it has the same resolution as the iPad Air 2, slightly smaller screen, 8.9 inches instead of the larger screen on the iPad. This has been the first tablet I've had since the Nexus 7 that I broke. What was that, Trey? 2 years ago by throwing off a balcony.
Oops.
Yes, you broke your Nexus 7 by throwing it off of a balcony.
But so here's
hey Jimmy, why do you own a Lumia?
I don't want to talk about it. So this is Google Now. Let's see if I can get this without the reflection of this. Turn that over there. There we go.
Hey.
Okay, so this is Google Now. As you can see, it's Veterans Day, so we have the little Veterans Day thing above. It's a double stacked on here with the cards interface, whereas on the Nexus 5, it's just a single column
I see that.
of icons. This screen, these are both turned down to the lowest brightness. So as you can see, this is a brighter screen than this. That's the Nexus 9 has a brighter screen than the Nexus 5 for the audio listeners. Other than that, Android Lollipop, this is a standard Lollipop background. It looks very good. I had to remember how to put widgets in. That was fun. One of the other features that you get from Lollipop is an enhanced pull-down screen here. So you have, your brightness slider, your Wi-Fi, Bluetooth. You have a flashlight built into this. So for, I don't know, to kill all of the flashlight apps in the Google Play Store. And then location and cache screen, which are obvious for this. But one of the other features that they've added is if you look up at the top, you'll see a little blue circle. That is the user. And so let me see if I can manipulate this without flipping this around. So if I click that, it'll show you all of the users that I have on my tablet. Now, one of the users I have is guest. So a guest account can be set up. And I also have the text last call Google account set up. So when I click on it, it'll flip it to its own home screen that I can then flip up, and you can set this up any way you want. So it has the multiple users, which I think is probably the biggest change for Android Lollipop over the previous version of the most recent version of KitKat. I can't remember how to set up Google Now. I was going to set that up to kind of show the differences between my Google Now and a completely sterile Google Now.
That would be like my Google Now.
Like Trey's Google Now, really. Along with this, we've got the upgraded kind of material design apps. This is the... Do I have to turn the right... Yep. Okay. This is the Gmail app for the Nexus 9, the newest Gmail app. They've changed a couple of things. The biggest thing being, look, there's a red band at the top. It's really fancy. And then kind of bringing some of the same design cues that they've had on the website for a while of the little circles with the letter of the person's name on it, if there's not a picture, and then a picture if they have that. Let's see, what else do we have? And a variety of other apps that we've had updated. So it's a little, so as you can see, I can hold it in one hand. That is possible, but I will tell you that even just in doing this demonstration, my hand is starting to get tired. So it's not really a single hand device. It's a two-handed device.
But yes.
But it's an 8.9 inch tablet.
8.9 inch tablet. So
hold it with two hands, you morons.
Or really set it on
put
your
it in your
lap,
lap,
or
which is
set it on the podium, or whatever.
It makes a great couch device.
Yes. Okay. Yeah.
Which I will be honest with you has been the majority of my use because I haven't done any traveling since I got it.
But again, so I ask this question because I ask this question of anyone who pays that much money for a tablet. Why?
Clipboard.
What is
Why?
it good for?
Why not just get a Nexus 7?
Okay.
What does this give you that's useful over a Nexus 7?
The actual my overall review of this tablet is it is a great tablet.
I'm sure it is.
Has a great one of the biggest hits against it if you read reviews on it is that it doesn't have the industrial design that people are looking for, or like it feels cheap. Well, that's the people that don't like this rubberized back. Rubberized back is actually really nice for holding.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
One of the complaints
the
with
iPhone 6 Plus.
Right. One of the complaints with the iPhones and the iPads of late is that the metal makes it harder to hold on to them, so you're more likely to drop it.
Yeah, that's
and I did
true.
actually nearly drop someone's iPhone 6 Plus because I went to do something that I've done a million times with my phone, and it just slipped through my hand because my phone is Nexus 5 has a rubberized back. You can see when you look at these two devices next to each other. Let me see if I can get a good. You can see that they're basically the same device. Like, as far this one's made by LG, this one's made by HTC. But other than that, they're basically the same device. They have the same design language, very much a unified Google Nexus design. It's too expensive.
Yeah.
It is. So this is the 32 gig version. With tax, this is $500.
Sure, which is competitive with the iPad.
For $500, just buy an iPad.
No, for $500, buy a smaller tablet and save money.
Yeah, buy the previous generation of the Nexus 7. The second generation of the Nexus 7, the Nexus 7.
Which is going for how much right now? A couple $100?
They're $200. They were released at $229, so they're probably going for $200 now.
Sure.
I think that they're still available. So the thing that Google did with this generation of devices, unlike what they did with the last generation of devices, is that they left the previous generation available. So you can buy a Nexus 9, a Nexus 6, a Nexus 5. Oh, it looks like they took the Nexus 7 off their site.
So you just can't buy a Nexus 7 from Google now?
Not straight from Google, not off the Play Store. However, you can probably still buy one at like Best
Sure.
Buy. So go buy one from Best Buy.
Right. Or go buy a iPad Mini with Retina display.
Yeah, or that.
I guess what they're calling the iPad Mini 2.
And that's been the recommendation that I've given other people, that don't buy any of the new iPads, don't buy a Nexus 9, buy an iPad Mini with Retina display.
Because, let's be clear, you use the phrase couch device.
This is a couch
that
device.
is absolutely true. But at no point should you be spending $500 on a couch device. A couch device is a $200 to $300 proposition max. Right? And really, just buy a phablet. And the idea of a couch device sort of recedes into the background. I have an iPad Mini that just lives in the studio. Because it runs my soundboard here. I don't bring it into my couch because I have a 5.3? 5. No, it's bigger
It's a
than
5.5.
Yeah, okay. 5.5 inch phone, and that's plenty of a couch device for me because, I want to cruise Yik Yak and, see if the Yak game is strong.
Gotta be up on the yaks.
The Yak game is strong.
Ooh, Trey, we should share our top yaks.
Oh, yeah, it's time for Yak of the Week.
Yak of the week.
See,
We need a sound effect for that.
Oh, God.
What sound does a yak make?
Yeah, I'm sure...
Probably sounds like a cow.
I'm sure freesound.org will have yak sounds, which is where a lot of my sound effects come from.
By the way,
Probably.
Yik Yak on a giant screen.
Just sounds like a cow.
Okay. So,
Oh, it's Veterans Day, so there's some good ones.
So the top yak at Emory right now is, shout out to my health PHP. Those Smirnoff shots at ZBT must have done wonders for your spiritual pillar.
Wow.
Yep.
All right, so I will read number 1, which is from Rice, is, as a general rule, disagree with war, but do not disrespect veterans.
Yeah, no, veterans nowhere near the top yaks at Emory.
Number 2, a girl in my class definitely likes me, but she's from a North college, and I'm just not ready for a long-distance relationship.
Yep. The number 2 yak, I'd definitely be healthier if it didn't cost $3.80 to get a fruit cup at Emory, while chips are legit half that price.
Good point.
That's true, though.
That is, I actually struggle with that all the time. That a roast beef sandwich is 3 times the price of a peanut butter and jelly sandwich. These are the struggles of being a graduate student and having to deal with undergrads. That was this week's Yak of the Week.
Yak of the Week.
This is a dumb segment.
This is a segment we do only because we think that Yik Yak is hilarious.
Oh, it's so awful and yet so funny.
But anyways, don't buy this.
Don't buy it.
Okay, so
no caveats. Just don't buy it.
This is an awesome tablet.
It's a great device. Don't buy it.
No one should buy this, but at the same extent, no one should buy an iPad Air.
No, I fully support that conclusion.
No, this is not a productivity device.
None of them
The fact that people think it's a productivity device is
proves
hilarious.
that they're madmen.
People think that they're supposed to take pictures with them on vacation, so
Right.
It's
Look.
because it's the largest
People holding
viewfinder
the
you can
iPads.
get.
Oh God. Yeah.
See, look, I can take a picture and.
No.
best selfie.
You know
ever.
what's actually, you use a viewfinder on a DSLR, which you can get a DSLR for that kind of money. Not a good one, but you can get a good, decent used
Canon
one.
T3 for this,
Or a decent used one. And you look in the viewfinder, and then it completely fills your field of vision if you're doing it properly. And
okay, that's only if you're using 100% coverage viewfinder. See, even the 70D only has a 98% coverage viewfinder.
close
You
enough.
really have to go up to the 7D Mark II to get 100%.
right, that's one of the things I'm looking forward to. But my point is,
That's one of the things you get in the 7D, current generation 72. I'm pretty sure, whatever.
there is no reason for a big tablet unless you're going all the way up to the Surface Pro 3. And then, yeah, absolutely, there's a reason for a big tablet.
Well, that's a laptop sized.
But that's a laptop. That is, to me, just a different category of device. I think that here are the three categories of devices that make sense in the modern world. A 5-inch phone, a 7-inch tablet, 7 to 8-inch tablet, and then a laptop or convertible. Anything
I would
that's
make the argument that if you have a Surface Pro 3 size laptop or convertible, you don't need the intermediate tablet.
You don't say. You don't say. I mean, look how much my intermediate tablet gets used.
I mean, part of it is like I love my Lenovo, but it's okay. It's a great on-the-go production device when I need to do stuff.
Right.
I can do stuff on it on the go. It's a real laptop that does real stuff.
But it's also, I mean, it's twice the price of these 9 to 10-inch tablets.
Right.
But at the same time, what can
it's
you actually...
3 times as much computer.
But what can you actually do? Like, I get the app ecosystem, but I can't work with a 32 gigabyte hard drive and no USB port. Right? Like, a 32 gigabyte hard drive and no USB port is of no utility to me. Right? So I need to... Oh, and no keyboard. By the way, no keyboard. So any work that I would need to do on the go, which would justify having this bigger device, I can't do on these things. Sure, it's better for watching movies, but it's not enough better to forego a 7-inch tablet. 7-inch tablet's fine for watching movies if you think your phone's just a little too small. And again, those things are like half the price. And it's not wasted power. Like, the iPad Air 2 could fly to the moon. But why?
So this thing, I see why Android L got delayed. Mm-hmm. Because it's kind of jumpy on this. Mm-hmm. And I think that part of the problem is that Google doubled down on this thing because this is a 64-bit operating system to support the new NVIDIA 64-bit chip. And as a result of that, their other upgrade was not ready.
Sure, I can believe that.
They got into this situation where they said they decided they were going to do this thing, and now they're reaping the consequences of doing it. So you know, the tablet market for me is very rapidly becoming just don't buy them. Yeah, no, this will be the last tablet I actually ever buy because there's no reason. Let me phrase that. This is the last Android or iOS tablet I will ever buy.
Unless something radically changes in that market. I mean, never say never, but, you know.
What will happen is I will get a larger phone when I replace this.
And a Surface Pro.
And probably then again, I may not even get something like that, depending on what my use case is.
Sure.
If I need power on the go, my company will give me a power on the go device.
Sure.
They've made that clear that's how they solve these problems. But I'll just continue to have a desktop because at the end of the day, that's what I want.
Sure. For me, I'm in a position where the Surface Pro 3 is kind of my perfect on-the-go device. It does everything I need to do wherever I need to do it, short of media stuff, and that's what that's what a MacBook Pro is for. And so I'm not in a position where I'm out of having two laptops, having a Surface and a MacBook. But that doesn't bother me that much because the use cases are different enough that I should not expect one device to do all of those things.
For you, a Surface and a laptop or a MacBook are the equivalent of a yoga and a workstation.
Sure. Yeah. I also have a work. I mean, this show is currently being powered by a workstation, so I have real problems. So speaking of those problems, we kind of wanted to take a couple minutes and go back to again the Gamergate debate. But from a slightly different angle. So one of the things that we've been seeing as a consequence of it is people leaving the gaming industry. because of the amount of abuse that they've been taking. And people talk, oh, just grow a thick skin. Oh, it's just randoms on the internet. Like, who cares? And, well, first of all, like, it's an incessant campaign of harassment. But I have in conducting the weird social experiment that was our Gamergate episode, I got to experience a very small piece of the harassment, right? So I was dealing with randos for about 2 weeks of just people wanting to have these really elaborate debates to the point where I would grow to dread the Google Plus alert tone on my phone. The doo-doo-doo. Like, I have a very minor case of PTSD from hearing doo-doo-doo.
My mom texted me the other day and Trey freaked out because it was the doo-doo-doo sound.
Yeah, because her text message noise is doo-doo-doo. And that's what my Google Plus notification sound is. And now, anytime I hear that sound, anytime
Tangy Meringue.
there is a notification on my Google Plus account, I'm just like, oh my god. I have leftover residual stress, and I wasn't harassed. I was kind of harangued, but as a kind of a cis, white, straight male, I wasn't beat up on. Really, I was not name called, I wasn't doxxed, they weren't calling me horrible things, they were mostly using very rude methods of attacking my ideas, which for the internet's practically peaceful.
That's
and
just
even
the internet.
That conversation, even on that level, has given me a little bit of residual stress to the point where I start to really understand why the incessant harassment is really driving people out of the industry, because even a little taste of it has, long-lasting consequences, and, I kind of just flinch every time I hear doo-doo-doo.
That good, huh?
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. I think people don't understand kind of how badly that harassment can affect you. And I was like, oh, just don't get on the internet. When you're like a person who makes their livelihood on the internet,
that's not an option.
Hard.
It's not an option. So there's not, and when Twitter is your kind of professional social network, which is what it is for a lot of these journalists and game designers, again, you can't just get off of Twitter, right? That's where a lot of your connections are made. That's how you interact with actual fans who are actually interested in talking to you. That's how you interact with other developers. That's your main professional outlet. So again, that's not an option.
That's not a
so
viable
easy
option.
to say, just grow a thick skin, just deal with, until you've experienced the volume of harassment that some of these people have been putting up with, you really you can't begin to understand what, it's one thing to receive, oh, we got a nasty comment because someone disagreed with us on something, but just to have a constant slate of people beating up on you, or, it's... And theoretically, a lot of these guys are like, well, we were nerds and we got picked on and da-da-da-da. Okay, so...
Yeah, and yet you're inflicting that same thing.
And so now you're the bully. This is where bullies come from. You got bullied, and so your reaction to that is to bully other people. Congratulations. Welcome to being part of the system.
Welcome to the cycle of abuse.
You are now a part of the cycle.
Right, you're now part of the problem. And, a lot of what I would get is, oh, there's harassment on both sides. No, just stop. If your argument is someone else is shooting too, then great. Try again.
Yeah, I'm sorry, but he did it first argument pretty much stops. No, never mind. It doesn't ever stop working because it never worked.
Or
didn't work when you were 5. Doesn't work now.
What Anita is saying about us is just as bad. Or what? It's like Anita is critiquing game design, and that there's some darker elements to it that we've kind of either been complicit with or actually secretly kind of like, and that's troubling. That's different than an out-and-out campaign of harassment. There's a wonderful kind of joke going around games journalism circles that's like, whatever terrible thing, actually it's about ethics in games journalism. So it's like, there's a Hitler reacts that is actually it's about ethics in games journalism. Which I think is kind of the topper on this, because it's not about ethics in games journalism. That may be, there's this hashtag not your shield. The real shield here is oh, it's ethics and games journalism. That's what you're using as a smokescreen. And if you are actually trying to participate in a debate about ethics and games journalism, you picked a real bad time. Because what you're doing is you're acting as a shield for harassers. And it sounds like it's starting to die down. Thank God. And I hope it continues to stay gone, because I'm tired of talking about it, and I may need to change my Google Plus tone, because everyone around me needs to get rid of Doo-Doo-Doooo, because sometimes someone in the studio, when we're running a live stream for worship, that's their notification tone.
I think it's just the default.
It is the
Apple
it
text
is the
sound.
default.
See, Trey, there's your first mistake.
I did look. This was the first time I really used Google Plus, so I didn't really think about what my Google Plus tone was. So that note, we should probably get out of here. Thank you so much for joining us. Another episode of T4. If you have any feedback for us, podcast at textlastcall.com, facebook.com/textlastcall, pinterest.com/textlastcall, or at textlastcall on the Twitters. Good night.
It's terrifying.
Usually I'm rocking out to this music in my car as I listen to the podcast, not actually in the studio, since it's very music. Jimmy found a good use for his tablet.
I'll beat you over the head with this.
It's not a bad device. It's just a device about a raison test. Like, it just doesn't have a reason to be.
Self-defense, apparently.